Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear about an effort to help seniors avoid falling victim to financial scams. Also tonight, we'll learn about news literacy for Arizona, and New York Times bestselling author Allison Brennan releases a new thriller. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
For over 65 years, AARP has empowered people to choose how they live as they age. As a wise friend and fierce defender, we advocate for better health, financial security, and stronger communities. We are AARP.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Estes, filling in for Ted Simons. Governor Katie Hobbs has selected her lieutenant governor running mate. She announced her pick is former Mesa Mayor John Giles. Giles was a Republican and is now registered independent, setting up a bipartisan ticket as voters will elect the state's first lieutenant governor. Hobbs' Republican opponent Andy Biggs announced last week that he is running with former Arizona lawmaker Sina Kerr. Election day is November 3rd. Early voting starts October 7th. Older Arizonans lose a lot of money to scammers every year. The organization ROSE, which stands for Resources and Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly, is working to help seniors avoid financial scams. Tonight, as part of our monthly AARP-sponsored segment highlighting issues important to older adults in Arizona, we welcome ROSE Community Outreach Specialist Brian Watson. Thank you so much for making the drive from Tucson, I discovered.
Thanks for having me back.
Hey, you spent 30 years as a special agent and a public information officer with the IRS. What made you want to continue in the financial world?
I did enough investigating. My favorite part was actually doing the PIO work, TV, radio, news, podcast, and I like to protect people. That was my favorite part of being an IRS special agent and PIO. So when I was offered the opportunity to join the team at ROSE, I jumped on it because it's my passion.
Give us an idea of what kind of scams. I know there are a lot of them. We won't be able to cover all of them, but is there one that is more popular right now when it comes to targeting seniors?
Well, there's multiple scams that use cryptocurrency ATMs as a way to steal money from people. I do not like cryptocurrency ATMs. I've been telling people all the time I want them to be banned. And multiple states have gotten rid of them. Indiana, Tennessee, Minnesota. But I want Arizona, I want our state to step up and ban them next. But there's, like the jury duty scam is one as an example. You get a phone call someone claiming to be from the sheriff's office saying you didn't show up for jury duty, and you can pay a fine, and they tell you to do it via cryptocurrency ATM.
What about the government impersonation scam? That's one that seems to just be, I don't know, evergreen.
It really is. And when I was at the IRS, there was the IRS phone scam, and people lost a lot of money in that one. But there's ones involving Social Security and Medicare and things like that. And then when I do presentations, I actually get a laugh line out of this. I ask my audience, when is the last time you ever called one of these agencies and they picked up the phone on the first ring? And they all laugh. But the whole point is these agencies are busy. They're not going to call you. They always initiate contact with a letter.
And so if someone gets a call and isn't sure, what's your advice?
Hang up. You know what? So many people, my generation and older, are trained to answer the phone and be nice. But I have to toughen up people and say, you know what? Even though your parents raised you well, you are allowed to hang up the phone. Call from a verified number. Not a number provided by the scammer, not a number provided in an email that was sent to you, but do your own research. You know, look in a phone book if you still have one, but you know, use an online search, go online, or even like if it's your bank, take your ATM card, flip it over, and call that number on the back.
Let's talk about technology. How is that changing how scammers are operating?
Well, nowadays everything has a password and a login. You know, my mom, every time she goes to a new doctor, she has to create a new portal and pay online. You can't do things with just a check anymore. So it created this perfect storm for this generation of older adults who did not grow up with technology, and then you have the scammers utilizing technology, and it's a perfect situation where the scammers can take advantage of us. And you know, and then people are worried about AI. You know, the biggest thing with artificial intelligence that I see is the scammers can run poorly written emails through AI to clean them up, to make it look like it was written professionally and by an English speaker, and it makes the emails much more believable.
What about voice-generated scams using AI?
That happens. And I've heard a few anecdotal stories, especially with the grandparents call. But then again, I mean, it's scary. If you did get a call, you have to hang up and call like your grandchild or your son or daughter directly.
What's some good advice for people who are concerned, maybe not themselves, but for perhaps a family member or a neighbor? Like, how can you bring up this conversation instead of waiting for something bad to happen?
So we have to talk about scam prevention all the time. And it's not a fun subject, but we want people to do, we have a monthly email that we send out at Rose, roseadvocacy.org. You can sign up for our free email. I have my mom and dad receiving the same email, and my daughter as well. So these are good conversation starters. So I can say, hey, Dad, are you aware of that new Amazon scam? Or Mom, are you aware of the new Publishers Clearinghouse scam that's coming back again? And I'm not insulting their intelligence or their age. And we can just talk about it in a very low-key environment.
You must be fun around the holidays, the dinner table, right? With all the stories about the hot scams. You do interactive presentations. You mentioned the newsletter. Talk about the presentations and what's involved with them, and then how people can learn about them.
Right. So our main focus when Joyce Petrowski, our founder, started Rose was to be in the prevention business and meet people where they are. Go to their communities, go to the community centers, and sit down with them and talk about these scams in an open and easy to understand environment. I've done almost 100 of them. Joyce has probably done the same amount, and other people on our board. But you can go to our website, roseadvocacy.org, find out when our next presentations are, sign up for one, get your community to sign up. They're very educational, and now we're offering a variety of different presentations on different topics, including things like technology.
Brian Watson with Rose, thank you so much for joining us and for all of your work that you're doing protecting seniors here in Arizona.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Go!
The music of Neil Diamond.
She got the way to move me, Cherry.
It begs audiences to sing along.
Caroline.
In 2008, live at Madison Square Garden.
Kentucky woman.
His greatest hits.
Coming to America.
Neil Diamond, Hot August Night, NYC.
Saturday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
The Marlowe Murder Club on Masterpiece Mystery has been charming fans with its team of amateur detectives solving cases in a quaint English village. Join us for a behind-the-scenes special, and we'll celebrate the first 2 seasons and share a sneak preview of Season 3. We'll revisit our favorite moments and chat with the cast and creators in Solving the Puzzles of the Marlowe Murder Club.
Sunday night at 7:30 on Arizona PBS.
Adapted from Anthony Horowitz's best-selling books, the Masterpiece Mystery series Magpie Murders, Moonflower Murders, and the new Marble Hall Murders are beguiling mysteries within a mystery. Join us for an inside look at this charming series and a sneak preview of Marble Hall Murders. We'll investigate every aspect of these brilliant whodunits in the Susan Ryland Mysteries.
Sunday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
A local nonpartisan nonprofit organization is helping Arizonans build critical media skills. Joining us now is Michelle Beaver. She's founder and executive director of News Literacy for Arizona. Thanks for coming in, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, let's start with an overview. What is News Literacy for Arizona?
Well, News Literacy for Arizona is a nonpartisan program that strengthens our communities by helping people navigate today's information landscape so they can make informed decisions based on fact. We do this primarily through a 50-minute workshop that teaches news literacy skills to attendees ages 13 and older in schools, libraries, and community centers. And our motto is that truth matters, and it does exist, and we can find it.
Truth matters, it does exist.
And we can find it.
Got it. Well, how do you help people find it? Talk about the content. You've got quite a few pillars involved in the workshop.
Yes, so first and foremost, we don't try to change anybody's minds. Instead, we give them the tools to make up their own minds. And we do this through a 5-point training. So first, we go over the importance of news literacy, then the dangers of disinformation, the power of algorithms on the information we consume. Then we delve into journalism's role in our democracy. And then lastly, we talk about how and why to build a diverse news diet.
That's a lot. What inspired you to create News Literacy for Arizona?
Well, my advisory board members and I were inspired to create News Literacy for Arizona because we're really concerned about the public's eroding trust in journalism. And I always say in our workshops that today's journalists follow the same principles that were trusted by our parents and our grandparents. So those principles have not changed. What's changed is public perception of those principles. And it's okay if we don't agree on opinions, but we need to agree on facts. Because if we're operating from facts, we can all work together better to solve problems as a community.
On the topic of facts, we often hear the words misinformation and disinformation. What do those mean?
Right, so they get used interchangeably, but they're not. So what they have in common is that they're both false, but the difference is with the intent. So with misinformation, a good way to remember it is mis, like mistake. So let's say you tell somebody something starts on Monday, but it really starts on Tuesday. Like, whoops, you made a mistake. With disinformation, it's also false, but it's spread with the intention of deceiving or manipulating.
That may be the clearest explanation I've heard. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. Let's talk about some tips that you share in your workshops when it comes to thinking critically. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, yes, think critically. Don't accept anything you read or hear at face value. And if you have any doubts, run it through a fact checker. There's several good ones. One's called Fact Checker. There's Politico or PolitiFact. There's Snopes. And now check for sources. So let's say you're reading an article. The information should be attributed, like according to the Attorney General or what have you. And now you want to compare. So if you're consuming news that is not from a traditional non-biased news source, you should see how that topic is being covered by a traditional non-biased news source. And then you also want to find out who or what is behind the information that you're consuming. So go to the website, go to the About Us tab, and then also Google that organization to see what other people say. And then lastly, don't use TikTok for your news. 40% of American teenagers get their news from TikTok. And the problem with that is that 1 out of every 5 news stories that TikTok suggests contains misinformation and disinformation.
Let's dive into algorithms, because TikTok and social media is all about algorithms, because you address that in your workshop. What is the importance of algorithm, and how does that impact maybe the news and the information I receive?
So algorithms are like a digital librarian. It's a set of computer instructions that tries to figure out what it thinks we like. So let's say you're on social media or on YouTube. At first, your feed is going to look pretty random. And then as you start to click and engage, the algorithm pays attention to that and says, ooh, well, let's give you more of this. More and more of that same perspective. And then before you know it, you can fall into a rabbit hole or an echo chamber.
One section of your workshop focuses on journalism's role in democracy. Why?
Well, we focus on journalism's role in a democracy because 45% of American teenagers think that journalism does more to harm democracy than to protect it. So we focus on the role of watchdog journalism, and we teach the attendees about that. And we give some of many, many examples of how journalism has held government and institutions and individuals accountable. And then I ask the attendees to think about what would our society and our democracy be like without a free press? Like, is that something you'd really want?
You also give folks advice on a diverse news diet. What does that mean, and what does it really look like?
A diverse news diet, it's all about balance. So the medium does not matter. You can get your news from television, radio, print, online, they're all fine. What matters is the content. So the bulk of our news content should come from traditional, non-biased sources like ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, state and local newspapers, what have you. And then we can kind of complement that with some right-wing and left-wing news. So the analogy we give to our attendees is to think about your news diet like a dinner plate, where the main portion of your meal is, say, like roasted chicken. That's your traditional, unbiased sources. And then you complement that with some sides, like some broccoli and potatoes. That's your left wing and your right wing. You put it all together, you have a balanced diet.
That's a lot of work, a lot of important information. So what kind of feedback do you get from the teens and the other folks that are in your workshops?
I think it resonates most with teenagers because they hate being lied to. And they really want to know how to find truth, and that's what we help them do.
Very quickly, tell us how people can learn more about your organization as well as your workshops.
They can visit us at newsliteracyforarizona.org to book a workshop or support our work.
Michelle Beaver is Executive Director and founder of News Literacy for Arizona. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More than 20 years ago, Allison Brennan took a leap of faith and quit her job after selling her first novel. That gamble paid off. She's published more than 50 books. Her newest is Whisper Creek, a thriller about a Texas family fighting for their land against both human enemies and Mother Nature. To learn more about the book, we welcome the author of Whisper Creek, Allison Brennan. Thanks so much for coming in. Just before we started, I said I was going to ask you this. Do you hate this question? And I didn't get to ask her the question yet, so we're going to find out if you hate this. You've got long-running series, romantic suspense, thrillers. Like, you cover the gamut, more than 50 books. So how do you stay fresh? You're right, because your writing is always fresh and always interesting and compelling. How do you do it?
Well, I think the most important thing is that I have to like what I write. So if I am getting bored with something, that's kind of when I say, okay, this is time to end the series. I had a long-running Lucy Kincaid series, and I didn't have any fresh ideas for her. And I still get reader email saying, why are you not writing any Lucys? I said, well, when I get a good idea, then I will pitch it to my editor. But I have to have that spark, because if I'm not excited about what I'm writing, my readers are not going to be excited reading it.
You are a big fan of research. You've attended the FBI Citizens Academy, visited a prison. What is it about research that you enjoy? And then how do you decide how much you can put in the book and how much you can't?
I like to learn about what other people do for a living. It's fascinating. You know, the FBI Citizens Academy, where I got to participate in SWAT drills. I mean, watching these people do what they do and then talking to them after, why did you make this decision? It's fascinating, because I'm not a cop and I'm not brave at all. And so I think it's just learning what they do and then be able to say, okay, I have to make it exciting. So I leave out all the paperwork. My daughter's a cop, so it's like there's a lot of paperwork. I avoid that in my books. We just say, they spent 3 hours doing paperwork, and then that's one sentence and I can move on.
Well, let's talk about the research in Whisper Creek, which is your newest published book, because you had to do some research. Talk about that.
Well, I actually interviewed a farmer in Nebraska who is married to one of my good friends, who's also a writer, and to help me understand a day in the life of a farmer. You know, what do they do? Get up. What's the problems? He helped me so much, and he gave me one line that said, grow or die. And it kind of became the theme of the book. And he didn't realize that. He's like, I really didn't help you. I said, no, Brian, you totally helped me. And then I also interviewed a friend of my son, his former college roommate, who had a cattle ranch in North Texas. And by putting all that information together, it really helped me make the book realistic.
And it is really a fast-moving, fast-paced book. I have to say, I was really drawn to the family, and many of her books are very family-centric, about resilience and family and staying together and fighting for each other. Is that just in your DNA, or do you kind of choose those themes as you write?
I like the family aspect of stories, and I think readers like it too. Even when I don't write about a family, like in my Quinn and Costa series, they're FBI agents, but they've kind of made their family. They're a group of agents that work closely together. So, and it's kind of family. And I do. I really think readers want that human connection, and they want it in their books, and they want it in their lives. And so me too. I mean, I think we're all pretty much the same.
Whisper Creek is your newest book out now, but you have another one, I'll Be Watching You, right here, that's coming out September, right?
Yep.
It's set in Phoenix, which I love. Why Phoenix?
Well, I had wanted to set a book in Phoenix, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. And I went to court with my daughter, the cop, and we ended up afterwards talking to the judge. And he was telling me about his family and how his grandparents got married at the Basilica downtown, and how his family's been here for 100+ years. And I said, that's it. I'm going to write about a long-time Irish-Mexican family in Phoenix, and they're private investigators. And so they work together, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And so I kind of picked the Sunny Slope area because, one, that's where my daughter patrolled, so I knew a lot about it, and I knew I had a resource to call upon. Hey, what's going on? How can I put this in my story?
It's called writing smarter, not harder. What's the most rewarding part of the writing process for you?
Finishing a book. No, I'll say I love when I type the end. I get so excited. I actually literally type it because it's like it's done. I also really, really love reader email when people reach out to me. I had a grandmother reach out to me just the other day saying she had just discovered my books and she's working her way through all my series.
She's going to be reading quite a while. Wow. Geez. Okay, so how can people either send you an email to tell you how much they love your books or learn more about your books?
AllisonBrennan.com. All my social media links and my newsletter and contact are all on my website.
Allison Brennan's latest standalone thriller is Whisper Creek. I'll Be Watching You, set in Phoenix, specifically Sunny Slope, but other areas. There's Cave Creek in there, and Peoria is mentioned, and it was just really a treat to read. I was fortunate to read an early copy, so thank you for that, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us. I'm Christina Estes, in for Ted Simons. I hope you have a great night.
Hello, I'm Alice Ferris, and we hope you enjoyed Arizona Horizon. For more than 40 years, viewers in Arizona have relied on Ted Simons and Arizona Horizon for